Happy Spiritual Sunday to you all. I see a few of you here already joining us. It's great to be back live with you all. Oh, there we go. Yes, at least let me know you're here. That's great. So we'll take a moment, let people, I hope you had a great week. We have a very, for me, it's a very powerful class today, revealing some new revelations that I received in this last week or so. Yeah, there we go. Hi, Boker Tov, good morning. Hi, Vida from Malaysia. Yes, Puerto Rico in the house. Okay, Canada. Ooh. You're visiting. You're really a Floridian. That's okay. And Norway. Great. So nice to be back and see you all live here, as live as we can get this way. Okay. Great. Oh. Louisiana. Yes. Hong Kong. Yes, PR is in the house. That's Puerto Rico. Okay, you guys put me in a good mood, I must tell you, or a better mood. So, yes, good morning, good morning. Oh, Netherlands. Okay, here we go. Netherlands, Norway, Hong Kong, Malaysia. Oh, yeah. Hawaii, California. Oh, here's Boca, Florida. We got some Florida here. Yes. So while we're waiting for more people to come on, and I'll probably remind you again, please remember how to start a watch party. It's probably been so long, maybe you forgot. Just push the share button, the watch party. Let's get this message out to millions of people. I mean, hello, you and I have been watching what's going on in the world even just these last 6 months. And we're understanding that really there's no hope without the light. There's no hope without the light. I mean, think about it. Where, in what way, shape, or form do you see anybody out there talking about world peace and how to achieve it, and here's our methodology, and here's even some examples of things that we've achieved already. So, yes. Oh, Yara, thank you. Okay, well, let's get started, and please remember, just start a watch party. Let's get thousands of people. Oops. Let's see. That's a good idea. Forgot to do that. Give me a moment. It's good. Okay. Live streaming. And I'm about to. Hello. There we go. Okay. Let's shut off the phone. Okay. So let's just go right into it. We have our affirmation, which you probably haven't done on a Sunday for a while. Consciousness is everything. I raise my consciousness today to see the miracles and wonders of life. I commit myself to behave with greater love, compassion, and kindness towards all human beings. All right. For those of you who are new, the whole purpose of what we do in Spiritual Sunday, which is a project of the Kabbalah Center, is how to reach every human being on earth, as you're going to hear today, to help people understand through their religious background, through their scientific background, through their personal experiences, to see how to connect the dots of all those different facets of our life into one unified whole. And in the bigger picture, understand what our purpose on earth is. So if you haven't taken Kabbalah 1, go to Kabbalah.com, sign up either for a new global class that's taking place, or watch what's on Kabbalah.com already recorded from one of the previous courses. But you must. There's no human being on earth who cannot benefit tremendously from the wisdom of Kabbalah 1. Changes your perspective of life, changes your perspective about yourself, help you understand you and other people around you and what this world is really about. And frankly, in the 33 years I've been teaching this, has helped every person that I've ever spoken with to understand better their religious perspective on things. Whatever religion you grew up in, there's an essence called Kabbalah because it is the universal wisdom and source of everything. Science, medicine, psychology, physiology, and every religion on earth. every spiritual teaching, all rooted in the Zohar, which is the source of the wisdom called Kabbalah. So, yes, thank you. Okay. Oh, yes. All right, so let's get started like this. When I was in high school, the high school football team would have somebody go out and film, yes, old days, film the next week's opposing team, right? Why were they doing that? So they could bring the film back to the school. The players and the coaches could all get together, watch their opponent, right? The challengers of the next week, watch them, see what their strengths were, what their weaknesses were, what their strategy was. In other words, know your enemy, and then you can defeat him. So this was the plan. Okay, sometimes it worked. I guess sometimes it didn't, because who knows? Maybe they switch it up or whatever. But let's look at it a different way. Let's say, as in the case of the high school I went to, one of the opposing schools was called South Torrance High School. But there was also a West Torrance High School. So let's say our next game was against the South Torrance team, but the person who went out to film the team so that they could get to know their challenger better, they film West Torrance High School football team. And now that's the movie that they're showing the players and the coaches. You think they're going to be able to do well? No, they're looking at the wrong opponent. They're not now studying and understanding the opponent that they're going to face. They're looking at other ones. Yeah, maybe down the line they're going to face them, maybe another way, but they're not focused on that team that they're about to play next week. So of course they can't do as well. Sadly, truly sadly, in one way or another, even you and I, but certainly the people who have no connection yet to this wisdom of Kabbalah from the Kabbalah Center, we're all fighting the wrong opponent. We're all fighting the wrong enemy. That's why I asked you on Facebook, think of people that you feel are your enemies. And I mean enemies in that way because I want to go for the most impactful ideas. So you think of your enemies. You say, oh, they're stopping you from this and this. They're causing harm in the world, to you, family, friends, whatever it may be, right? But we have those enemies. But I want us to understand, virtually guarantee you, every single one of us are not fighting the real enemy. We're not fighting the real enemy. So let's get in that to a moment, because if we're fighting the wrong enemy, if we're fighting the wrong opponent, then what's going to happen? The opponent, the real enemy is going to win, right? It's like a distraction. What did the shepherds of old used to do, right? When the fox came to take the sheep, so what would happen? The shepherd would throw one of the sheep, a strong sheep, over there to the fox. So while the fox was fighting, let's call it the wrong opponent, they could run away. The shepherd could take the sheep away. Right? Now, in a certain way, that's what our opponent is doing to us. So I want to get into the understanding, because this wisdom called Kabbalah, the Zohar, is teaching us every detail of life. And yes, every detail. And I admit, after 33 years in the center, sometimes it could be a little frustrating, because there's nothing that I know that I could do in a day that's not either moving me forward, growing and elevating spiritually, or heaven forbid, holding me back. Everything. Because everything is based on cause and effect. So the more you understand, the more control you have. But we all have to get over that sort of initial pinch, the discomfort of acknowledging, recognizing, and seeing. So for many of us, today's message is going to be quite shocking. It is. But at the same time, once we pause and get over the shock, it is one of the most powerful concepts that we can understand if we want to bring peace to the world with mercy, with harmony, with unity. Okay? And tremendously less pain and suffering. So now, pay attention. I'm about to share with you a truly deep concept. So I want you to be focused. We're in the endless world. And again, if you're not familiar with it, please sign up for Kabbalah.com. Take the Kabbalah one, the new one, or the recorded one. Begin to understand these concepts. In the endless world, the Creator created one vessel, if you will, one soul, which is all of us, filled us with light. the Creator's light, which is the only source of lasting fulfillment, truly lasting fulfillment. Now, we left that endless world. I mean, look, we're here in this world. Why? Why? If we had all the light, if we had all that energy of ultimately eternal bliss, why did we leave? Because in leaving, well, in being there, let's say, we couldn't really feel the bliss. We didn't really experience total bliss. It was there. We didn't know anything else. So, as we talk about in the classes, the law of affinity, like attracts like, wanting to be like the Creator, etc., etc. But for today, the idea is you and I collectively, because we are one soul, we decided we needed to separate ourselves. And it's only from our point of view. The infinite light is infinite. There's no getting away from it. It's no disappearance. It's no moving away. But from our perspective, we can appear, we can think we disconnected. So we decided to separate from the endless world in order to have at least one experience, one understanding of darkness, chaos, discord, something that wasn't eternal bliss. And that way, we were able to then operate with the light of our soul in order to earn that sense of eternal bliss, to truly feel it. It's like, when you achieve something in life, when you overcome an obstacle, you overcome some blockage in your life, you really put a lot of effort into study, and then you pass the test, or you do the best in class, or you get the new deal, or whatever it is. It's at that moment you feel, wow, you feel the bliss, you feel the excitement because you've overcome the challenge. But like all of us, think of the things we take for granted. They're usually the things we've always had. And because we've always had them, we've never been without, so we've never felt the lack. So we separated from the endless world. And in that separation, we left a space, and we, this is the hard part to get, we programmed an opponent to challenge us to not share. Because our goal is acting like the Creator, meaning sharing in every way, shape, or form, so that we would then be able to feel. Because in order to share, we have to see some darkness, share our light. We have to make an effort to share our light. And in sharing that light against the opponent that's trying to make us not share the light, that's when we can now feel, experience in our heart and soul that true eternal bliss. And that's when we get to the endless world. That's when here in this world, we get to heaven on earth, peace and harmony. So it's we who programmed the challenger. Like I've shared before, if I want to improve my tennis game, I call up a friend who's equal, maybe even a little better than me, put him on the other side of the net. I make the challenger. I make the opponent in order to make me better. If you've ever played a video game, somebody programmed a video game of, let's say, 10 levels, and on each level there's an opponent, an opposing force you've got to deal with and defeat it in order to move to the next level. And the next level, the opponent's a little stronger, but so are you. And the next level, the next level. So it's always about defeating that opponent. But on each level, the opponent looks a little different, comes at you with different things. So this opponent, just like the video game that we've programmed in life on earth, also has no free will, has an operating system. And by learning what we're learning today and in all the Kabbalah classes, we come to understand all the facets of that opponent, and therefore we can defeat it. We can defeat it. So the first thing we have to know is, what is the name? What is that real opponent? So I put it here so we could see the distinction. In Aramaic, which is truly the language of our soul, every soul on earth, in Aramaic, the original language of human beings, challenger, the adversary, the opponent, is called Satan. That's the word. It's a verb, Satan, to oppose or to challenge, right? So then a challenger is somebody who, le Satan, who opposes us. So here, I just want to make it clear. It's Satan. Satan. That opposing energy that's in our heads, as we'll talk a little more here in a minute. But as in those 10 levels of the video game, has different names or different disguises, if you will, in different ways. So in a traditional level, it's been called the devil, the angel of death, the evil inclination, the Lucifer, all those types of names. But it's still only one. It's that programmed energy to oppose us. Because if it's opposing us and we push against it to defeat it, then we've expanded our spiritual muscle. We've strengthened and grow the spiritual muscle of sharing, being godlike. Because the Creator, understood Kabbalistically, is only the energy of emanating its light. That's it. That's what the Creator is, just shining light. Endless world, we got it all. We came here, we separated to come here and earn the light, earn that sensation of eternal bliss, feeling in our heart and soul 100% eternal contentment. That's what we're here to do. This is our purpose. But now we have to understand this world. So in this world, we have a body and a soul, and each one has a consciousness. The body consciousness, or if you will, the thoughts of the body, are about my desire to receive for myself. Give me this, give me comfort, give me happiness, give me prosperity, give me love, take care of me. That's the body consciousness. Think about it, right? What does your body tell you? Take care of me, take care of me, take care of me. Your body doesn't tell you, think of other people, share with other people. That's the soul. So we also have a soul consciousness, thoughts of the soul, and those thoughts are sharing, kindness, love, compassion, generosity, humility, tolerance, forgiveness, compassion, etc. So we have a constant battle of thoughts, not a battle of actions. The actions are already the effect of our thoughts. So we want to deal on the causal level. That's the power of Kabbalah. If we can win the battle here, if we can allow our true soul consciousness to overcome this challenger, this Satan body consciousness of selfishness, as we let in our mind, we have strength, we let the light force of the Creator of our soul overwhelm the thoughts of Satan, we've defeated him. Then our actions will be sharing to the next level, just like that video game. You don't want to play, if you defeat the opponent on the first level, you don't want to do it again. You want a stronger challenger, right? You want a new challenge. So you go up a level. So there's new challenges there. You have to be stronger. You have to pay more attention, and so forth and so forth. So this is the same thing in life. So this Satan is in our brain. That's why we call it a spiritual parasite, to make sure we remember it's not us. It's not what God created. We took that on, we programmed it, if you will, when we came here into this physical world, when we separated. So then what's the essential force of Satan? Separation. Separation. Separate a person from the light of their soul. Separate a person from the thoughts of the Creator in their head, their pure and perfect light beingness. That's the power of Satan, is separation. Satan, remember. So let's say anger. Because all reactive behaviors, all self-centered, desire to receive for oneself alone thoughts, they are all separation, fragmentation, anger. Separate from the person because they did something bad. Separate from whatever you see on the news. Shut off the news because you don't like what you're hearing. You know, scream and yell at the person who's driving in front of you because they're not doing what you want. You get angry. So in anger, you've separated from the other person. By doing what? Separating yourself from the light of your soul, which is the light of the Creator. When there's jealousy, it's another form of separation. You're jealous of somebody else. Why? Because of what they got that you think you should have. Why should they have it, etc. But again, it's separation. Separation from the light of one's own soul. Because if we could have shining light, we see things clearly. We know the cause and effect. When everything is bright and shiny, especially the light of God, we see everything clearly. We see my action brought me into that kind of situation because I need to face that opponent or that aspect of the opponent, overcome my anger, overcome my jealousy, overcome my fear, overcome my insecurity, overcome my sadness, overcome my greed or ego. because those are all fragment ego. Think of ego. What is ego? Me, myself, and I. I am separate from you. Whether you say I'm better or worse than other people, it's still separation. So every form of reactive behavior, negative behavior, is separation. So no good can come from that. Think about it. If a person's separated from the light of their soul, that's death. In the body, physiology, if a person gets separated, if there's less and less blood flowing to the brain of a person, that's when strokes happen. So chaos, pain, suffering, and death is only the result of human, reactive, self-centered behavior. Don't look at a virus, a disease, bad eating, etc., etc. Now, I'm not saying ignore them totally, because those are also the result of thoughts, are they not? How many of you, like me, have ever eaten what you shouldn't eat because it's comfort food, or you're a little nervous, so you need to have something, right, that'll help you calm your nerves in this moment? Follow? So who are we thinking of? Me. So I can't blame you. Can I say you made me eat that? No. It's my own nervousness. It's my own thoughts. Thoughts are the cause. Every action in life is the effect of those thoughts. So there's, like we've said, body, thoughts, and therefore actions, which are reactive, self-centered. Then there are the soul or the light thoughts that are about sharing, and that's when there's revelation of light. We break through our darkness. We overcome our limitations of the fear and the greed and the anger and the guilt and the shame, etc. I hope you're all getting it. So then really, like when we used to play tennis or, whatever sport you play against a physical opponent, you try and psych them out. You play with their mind. So if you think about it now, this Satan, if you're just tuning in, I want to make sure you get it. Satan, not Satan. Satan is one of the disguises, the devil outside, right? The devil's trying to get us. No, there's no devil. There's Satan, that spiritual parasite that's constantly trying to put into our head negative, self-centered, selfish thoughts. That's it. And our job is to overcome it. Extract that parasite. Extract it. So it's playing only mind games. That's why the Kabbalists say the war of Armageddon, the only fight, the only battleground here in our brain, between the thoughts of the light of our soul and the thoughts of that parasite that is not us, called Satan, the challenger, the opponent. That's where it is. Now, think of this, because it was a conversation I had with a student recently, and I just want to share it for all of us because it's already probably happened to all of us. Think of an old relationship that you're no longer in, right? And let's say, I guess make it simpler, one that you left, right? For whatever reason, something wasn't going well, you didn't like what was happening, didn't like how they behaved, whatever it may have been, you left the relationship. Now, if you can think back to that time, for many of us, what happens? You leave a relationship, and in that space, that separation between one relationship and the next, what does that Satan do? I know it happened to me. I'm sure it's happened to all of us in some form. Satan, when you're starting to feel a little lonely because you're used to being with that person, now there's an empty space where you're not with somebody. And then Satan starts playing those mind games. Look back on your relationship. But here's what Satan does. Edits the movie. So you go back, let's say you were in a relationship for a year or 2 years, whatever it may have been. Satan takes that movie, the opponent, takes that movie, starts to edit it, and then puts in your head all the good times. You remember how good that was, how fun that was. You went on the vacation, you went to this park, you went out, camping, whatever it is, and only see the good stuff. And doesn't show you, so you don't remember the bad stuff that happened, which is why you left the relationship. And then what happened? You start to long, why did I leave that person? I should have stayed with them. It was so good. Now look at me. I don't have anybody. I'm lonely. Notice what's happening? It's all about me. I'm lonely. I feel all by myself. I feel sad. I feel now depressed, whatever it may be. It's me, 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 me. That's the affinity. That's when that opponent's movie, edited movie, shows up. Because if we could see the whole movie, we'd see the parts, the bad parts, and we say, that's why I left. Those were too much. It got to be too much and left. And therefore, because the light already gave us everything, I know there's a better relationship. I know there's my perfect relationship out there. I know there's the perfect job. There's a perfect aspect of life. Health, peace, prosperity, protection. The Creator gave us perfection. Our job is to express it. We created this opponent, the force of separation, in order to challenge us, so we have to make an effort. Because remember, in the endless world, we made no effort to have the light. That's why we didn't truly experience it. We didn't feel it. You could say, okay, I see it, but I didn't feel it. We're here to earn that feeling, that experience, that appreciation, that gratitude to the Creator for giving us all that light. That's why we're here in this world. Now, why, like in the case of this student, why am I helping this student? Why was I helping this student that was telling me the story about, wanting to go back to old relationship, this and this? And this, for me, is now really the second key point of today. And I'll start with this example. When I used to play Little League Baseball, every now and then, there's 9 people. We're all on the same team. We all want to win, because when we win, everybody wins, right? But every now and then, let's say, the ground ball gets hit to the shortstop, and the shortstop misses it. The ball goes through, the guy runs to first base, second base, whatever it may be. Now, we have 2 choices then. We can either forget, with the help of our opponent, we can forget that shortstop is part of my team. And now start screaming at him, how did you let that ball go? Pay attention, you're such an idiot, you're no good, you can't play, what's going on? Now, do you really think, for most, especially kids, or even adults, do you think most adults even, when they hear all that criticism, are going to say, gee, I guess I better play harder. I guess these people love me so much, right? No. The fragmentation, the separation. Now it's 9 individuals. It's not a team made up of 9 people, 9 parts that have to work together. No, now there's fragmentation. So of course, the other team is more than likely going to win. But you also have the choice. Okay, we're going to get them the next time, right? Let's go. We're focused, etc. Those are our 2 choices. We can either realize that that's a teammate who made a mistake, but will pull from their talent and ability to get the next one. Or we can fragment. But when we fragment and we make that shortstop or that other player, we make them the opponent. We make them the enemy. Then the real opponent in the baseball game, the other team, they're going to win. Because let's say they're working in unity as a team, and our team was working as 9 individuals, or even if it was, 5 and 4, whatever, it's fragmentation, it's separation. We lose to the opponent. The same way, every time a person behaves reactively, we lose to the opponent. Because what's the key? And I want this to sink in, get engraved in our mind. You, me, and everybody out there. Every human being on earth is on the same team. Every human being, 7.5 billion of us, doesn't matter the color, the race, religion, social status, political party, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. Every single one of us are teammates. Are teammates. And we have to, if the team is going to win, we have to start working as a team. We have to start working as a team. Now, how do we do that? So, in a similar way as this baseball game, the laws of the spiritual universe manifest in the physical. So there's no difference. Like I just said, we came out of the endless world. We are one soul. Yes, in this world, all that one soul took on, if you will, 7.5 billion physical bodies. So we have the illusion that we're different and separate. But you and I, especially here in Spiritual Sunday, we keep emphasizing every single one of us are on a spiritual internet, interconnected with the heart and soul of every person on earth. The ones you like, the ones you don't, doesn't matter. Because that endless world of infinite light never disappears. We can hide our own eyes. I can do this and not see you, but you're still there. I'm blocking myself. I'm blocking myself. So we collectively have blocked ourselves from the endless world. And in that, we've fallen into the trap and the hands of this opponent, this adversary, the real enemy or the real opponent of humanity called Satan. So if Satan is the force of separation, fragmentation, through all the reactive behaviors, being angry at them, resentful of them, think I'm better than them, greedy, which is I'm taking their... No, we got to remember, hello, they're on my team. So Rav Ashlag, as all the great Kabbalists, Rav Ashlag, the founder of the Kabbalah Center virtually 100 years ago, he wrote and taught us this term called devakut. Dvokut, which is like gluing. Our work is to glue ourselves to the Creator by acting like the Creator all the time. Glue ourselves to the light. So if we're glued to the light, then in essence, everything in the light, all the peace and harmony and blessings and clarity and solutions and prosperity and health and love, etc., we experience it. We experience it. But we cannot glue ourselves to the light of the Creator unless we glue ourselves to all the aspects of the light of the Creator. Like some people say, here's another way Satan, the opponent, got in. Says, you know what? I'm going to ask God to help me. God, help me, do for me, take care of me, etc. I want to be one with you, so I'm going to love and pray and connect to you and meditate on you all the time. But still has anger and animosity and resentment towards other people. Still has jealousy, sadness because what other people did, etc. That's fragmentation. So they're not gluing themselves, not creating you. The opponent is fragmentation, separation. The only way to defeat the opponent, which is our purpose in this world, unity. Create unity. So we need to start realizing we cannot be blessed by the light of our 100%, of the light the Creator put in our soul, unless we're gluing ourselves to the light inside every human being on earth, because that's part of God's light. So let's remember, there may be people behaving in a bad way, but there are not bad people. We may ourselves be reactive, behave in a bad way, but we are not bad people. Every person on earth, every person on our team, created by God, pure and perfect beings of light. Because we separated, and our job is to glue ourselves, now you're following it, reunite, then we have to reunite with the soul, with the light. That's a piece of my ultimate soul that's in all the people out there, the ones I like and the ones I don't like. So let me ask you, who do you think your opponent is going to exploit the most? Your anger, animosity, hatred, resentment towards the people you don't like, or the little annoyance and the little arguments and conflicts that you have with people you love? No, he's going to exploit the other ones, because the more hate energy and the more resentment energy and the more vile energy and hurt or sadness or guilt, the more energy, then the more the opponent gets. So the opponent is going to take advantage, yes, of everything. So, of course, you and I, we all have our conflicts, even with our loved ones. But it's easier for us to overcome and forgive. So it's not so much energy. So the opponent, because we programmed him smartly, right, to help us speed up the process, is going to exploit the people and make us think, I hate that person, look what they're doing, they're negative people, they're evil people, etc. No, the Kabbalist's right. They are not evil people. They are people created by God who are doing what we define as evil things. But it's part of their growth process, because we know there's a cause and effect. So eventually, with enough pain and suffering of doing those negative things, because what goes out comes back. That's why, what do we learn in the Kabbalah Center? It's all about sharing. Share everything. If you're sharing all the time, it goes out in the universe, comes back to you. We don't always see it right away, but eventually will. The same way when people do negative things, it goes out and brings them back negative things. But if it takes a week, 3 weeks, a month, 3 years, who remembers? That's also the power of this opponent, to make us forget, not see the cause and effect. Because if we don't see the cause and effect, then the negative actions that we do, we don't think it comes back to us. When the negativity does return, it's the other person. They did it to me. They made me feel bad. So what is Satan, the opponent, doing? Make us fight each other, conflict with each other? No, we have to think. Like Rav Ashlag uses a very nice parable or example. He says if you grow a fruit tree, and let's say an orange is sweet. But if as the tree grows, you take the fruit, the orange, off the tree when it's just budding, when it's just showing up, and you bite into it, it's going to be bitter. But that's because you haven't let it complete its process. At the end of its growth process, it's going to be a sweet orange. So what's the end of the growth process of every human being on earth? Every one of us is to be the pure and perfect light being in total manifest expression. So we'll be unconditionally loving, kind, tolerant, forgiving, etc. all the time. Is there not one person who's done negative things, or is there one person who's done negative things, as we all have, that God doesn't love? That God's still not shining its light? Of course. So our job is to glue ourselves to the Creator, which means in the same way, glue yourself to the soul of those people. Remember, as you glue to the soul with forgiveness and kindness and tolerance and compassion, etc., you're gluing yourself to the light in their soul, not to their negativity. That's another aspect or a strategy of Satan, the opponent. Make us think, if we're sending light to bad people, it's like we're blessing them and like we're endorsing their negative behavior. No, it's exactly the opposite. Exactly the opposite. You send light to somebody who's doing negative things. Suddenly, the light in their spiritual eyes, in their spiritual environment is brighter, and it becomes easier for them to see the negative effect that they're creating for themselves by their negative behavior. And just like you and I, when we come to realize that we behaved in a negative way and we feel the pain of that, we will change right away. Right away. So there's a very nice story like this, and then I'm going to tell you a personal story. So the story is of the Baal Shem Tov, one of the great Kabbalists of the 1700s. And kind of making a quick story, the Baal Shem Tov used to receive divine inspiration to go out to areas where there's going to be some kind of trouble. Especially in his time, there's going to be a program, people, going to come in and just kill people, steal from them, wipe out the village, whatever it may have been. So he would go and make his effort to unite people. Because again, even things like that can only happen when there's fragmentation. In the light of the Creator, there's unity. Because the people who are going to do bad to the other people will see clearly, wait, they're me. So it's like if they're going to hit somebody else, they're hitting themselves. And they're not going to do that. But in the darkness of the spiritual environment that's not yet fully illuminated, people can think if they hurt somebody else, it's bad for them and good for the person who hit them. Or if a thief steals, good for the thief, bad for the other person. Fragmentation. In the light of the Creator, everyone will see the exact cause and effect. So the Baal Shem Tov went to this city that was about to have this program, and he told his assistant, call the general. Call the guy who was leading this program, this destruction. Call him, I want to speak to him. And they had a private, for whatever reason, the general came to the Baal Shem Tov. They went in a room, they had a private conversation, and went out. No program. Years later, that assistant of the Baal Shem Tov met this very elegant, nice, kind, generous man. And through a conversation, came to find out that that was the general. That was the nasty guy who was going around just, destruction, killing, stealing, whatever it was, torturing, tormenting, etc. So the student of Baal Shem Tov said, what happened to you? He says, I only know you went in the room, but I don't know the story. And so this general, he says, I went into that room, of course, with my ego, and we're going to just get those bad people because we think they're not doing nice things, they're not good people, whatever, whatever. He says, and the Baal Shem Tov just spoke to me in such a way, with such love, reached my heart, and I began to feel the pain, my pain. I felt pain for the negative things that I had done. And at that point, I couldn't do it. And I've changed my life from that point forward to be more kind and generous and tolerant, etc., and use my capabilities and my talents to help people instead of to harm people. My friends, this is what we can do. This is the mission of the Kabbalah Center. By spreading the light, when you're scanning your Zohar and sending the world light, this is what's happening. They're having an awakening. What happened to me, I had a meditation, one of these deep meditations very recently, and all I could feel was pain. But what was the pain? It was the realization how my own reactive behaviors were causing harm to me and to others. And it hurt like nobody's business. But it reminded me, it gave me a new level, heightened awareness that I share with you today. When we're sending light to all the parts of our soul that are all those other people out there, when we're sending them light, we're blessing them to be able to see and feel the pain of their negative behavior. Without the light, they're going to keep going until pain and suffering is so overwhelming, we all change. Like we've already done. Look at your life. Has there been nothing you've changed because you felt pain and suffering? Internal? So you changed. So the same way, when we're sending light, like the tree with the fruit, we're speeding up the process. We're speeding it up. In Kabbalah, in true spiritual technology, there is either win-win or lose-lose, because we're all on the same team. So when parts of the team are fighting with each other, animosity, greed, selfishness, whatever it is, then the whole team loses. It looks like, sure, the opponent will make the person believe, like the thief, will make the thief believe that they win and the other person loses. But we know the law of the universe is like attracts like. So if the thief steals, eventually it's going to be stolen plus 20%. So it's lose-lose. Only there's a process it has to go through. On the other hand, when we're sending light to people, one, we're winning, because simultaneously as we're shining the light out of us, especially the people we don't like or in the situations that trigger us to our self-centered thoughts, in that moment, we're growing. More light going out from us, more light coming back to us. At the same time, the other person is winning because shining light on them, their darkness and illusion disappears, and they see and feel the pain they've inflicted on them and the other people. They will change. So my friends, the only way we can create win-win, the only way we can get back to the Garden of Eden, the heaven on earth, is let's remind ourselves starting today, we are on the same team. We are Team Humanity. Team Humanity. There's not Jews, Christian, Muslim, Buddhists. There's not black, white, yellow, brown, red. There's not Chinese, Americans, Canadians, Norwegians. We're Team Humanity. We have one enemy, one opponent. It's called Satan, that negative parasite in our head that's programmed to put negative, self-centered, lack, limitation thoughts in our mind so we can defeat it by acting with greater love and kindness and compassion and generosity and forgiveness and tolerance and gratitude and happiness for the good of others. Seeing through the illusion, reaching into the heart and soul. I just read in a magazine, through these protests that were going on, there was one policeman who was all alone in this big mob that was becoming very agitated. And strangers, part of the mob, suddenly decided, no, this policeman, he's by himself. He's a human being. This is what they said when they interviewed. And one stood between the policeman and the angry crowd. And then another and another gathered till there were 5 or 6 people protecting that policeman. And all of them said, this policeman didn't do anything bad. And they didn't want the crowd to do anything bad for themselves or for the policeman. And they knew they had to do something. So they got in the way. And fortunately, the crowd moved away. The policeman went, other policemen came, whatever. That's one example. When you and I, when we feel hurt by someone or resentful or even hateful, let's pause. And remember, they're on my team. They're in the process. Let's help them speed up the process and help ourselves at the same time. Because again, it's either win-win or lose-lose. So when we're shining, extending more light, we're winning and they're winning. And the more of us gathering and the more of us shining the light and the faster we spread the Zohar, the most powerful instrument of light in this world, the faster we do that as we unite as one team humanity against the one opponent of every human being on earth, then there's no doubt that we'll defeat the opponent. We'll get rid of the angel of death. We'll get rid of the evil inclination. We'll get rid of the devil. We'll get rid of Lucifer, whatever name you want to give. We get rid of all that negativity. We remove all the darkness. Like Jeremiah says, in a blink of an eye, like when you turn on a light in a room, blink of an eye, the light reveals completely in the room and the darkness disappears instantly. Today is the day. Let's commit ourselves to shine light unconditionally to every human being, uniting Team Humanity, spreading the Zohar. You're using your Zohar more. Give your Zohar, give Zohars to friends, family, people you meet. Support the Zohar project. Help us reach out to other people and turn that light on inside them. And that's how we can bring peace to the world. We can get back to the Garden of Eden. We can experience in our true heart and soul in this world, we can feel the Garden of Eden, peace, love, and unity towards all humanity, because we are one team humanity. God bless. God bless. So thank you for letting me share. It's great to be back with you. I just ask you a few things. One, think about how much your life has changed from what you learn on Kabbalah.com, what you've learned if you're in a center, what you've learned from Spiritual Sunday. Help us do that to other people. The world is in chaos. Let's look around. You see the fighting in all ways, shape, or form. Even this COVID issue, it's still, if you think about it, it's fighting in the head. It's the fear, the anger, the paranoia that's creating fighting between people, right? We don't like them. They're wearing a mask, not wearing a mask. I mean, I hear terrible things. People getting beat up. Even I've heard people killing other people for not wearing a mask. Okay, I'm not saying wear or not or whatever, but to kill, to have animosity like that, fighting our own team. So we need your help to be able to spread the Zohar, spread this wisdom, get more people on board with Kabbalah.com. We have the Karenberg Scholarship Fund. We have the Zohar Project that you can support through Spiritual Sunday, through the giving at Spiritual Sunday. It's helping us to spread this wisdom to as many people as possible. And thank God, we have 100 people every week who are asking for scholarships to get on Kabbalah.com because they know somebody or they've heard or they've experienced the power of Kabbalah and they want to grow more. We're on the same team, my friends. Please help us. Listen to your heart and soul and give generously. In fact, I can do it now. I'm going to put the giving. Yes. Let me do it right now before we close. And I'll post it again. Please like the page. I've heard that's important now. You know me in social media. Like the Spiritual Sunday page. Repost this video. Give generously through Kabbalah.com, through Spiritual Sunday. Help us spread the Zohar, bring more people into this wisdom. Lots of love and light and blessings. I look forward to seeing you next week. And as always, please write to me, Facebook me. Let me know the transformations that are going on in your life. For me, it's very inspirational to know that these messages are helping you and allow me to share it with other people and inspire them also. God bless. Have a great day, a marvelous week, filled with light and love and blessings.